No, I mean that's probably the life.
I gotta cut that. Not putting this out now.
No, man.
Podcast starts now.
No, you cut.
No, we're not talking about that. I don't want this to be a that kind of show.
My bad.
You know what's funny though? I'm looking around your room because now I'm in the mentality of like getting rid of all my stuff.
Yeah.
I could get rid of so much of this shit, and it's like you would care for about 10 minutes.
Well, I need the desk.
You need the desk, but it's like I'm looking at that globe up there.
That's part of my podcast.
Yeah, but it's like I bet it's part of your podcast. But I bet if you walked into this room and that globe was gone, you'd be like, "Oh, where's my globe?" And then after about 5 minutes later, you get a phone call, and it's like, the globe's where it is.
That's the accoutrement for Good Afternoon Planet Earth.
Yeah, throw that out. You don't got to keep a box for your computer.
Well, I need to use
Everybody
this
wants to
coffee
keep
maker.
a box for their MacBook Pro. They were so excited when they bought it. The moment, but it's like, no, that box is worth. You don't need a box for that.
I spent so much money on the box and iPhone that I'm like, I can't bring myself.
Everybody does the same thing. This is that's a very common thing I see. People always want to keep the iPhone box, but it's like, no one's gonna. I've seen people try to sell the box by itself on Facebook Marketplace for like $15.
You know,
but it's like, no, this is a sentimental memory for you.
Were you with me when I bought the camera? Do you remember how big the box was to this camera?
Oh yeah.
Dude, it doesn't matter. Remember that box, dude? It was like, 3 feet by 2 feet?
It was a huge B&H bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were so excited.
Yeah, dude.
But everything you buy, the reason why people keep so much stuff in their apartment is that they think like they have this memory of when they first got it and how much joy it brought them when they first, carried it in. But that joy wears off after like a day. And then you just have some shit.
You know what I need to get rid of? Honestly, I need to sit down and go through all these old joke books. There is some good stuff in there. Dude, there's some. I'm smarter now as a comedian.
There is probably one notebook of good stuff out of that.
Out of all of them, there probably isn't even one notebook. There's probably 10 good premises in there.
Yeah, but that's all sentimental value. I bet. Here's the thing, though. What people always say is like, I saw this on Twitter the other day. If somebody smeared dog shit on one of your things, would you wipe the dog shit off or would you throw it out?
Depends on what it is.
Exactly.
MacBook, I mean.
That's how you tell if it's valuable now. If you have a MacBook Pro that's very valuable to you, you would do what you got to do to clean this off. If you came home and somebody's, there's dog shit on my globe, it's like, throw that shit out. I don't even want to be near it.
All these sneakers I can get rid of.
Yeah. But you probably need 2 pairs of that.
Yeah, that's all you need. The Einstein theory, he had 1 pair of shoes. He said it's easier for him to decide.
Yeah. I mean, you cut these. Well, the thing is, you're not moving, so it's not like you got to make these decisions. But I feel like just mentally, it's so good to be able to do this stuff quickly. And it's like, get this out of here. You don't want to like, whatever. It's just taking up space.
Honestly, I thought you were going to look around and say, man, I'm looking at all this stuff. You really don't got much.
You also don't have much. Here's the thing. You could clear all this shit out. This would be about 10 minutes of cleaning.
Right.
And it would be one quick trip to the Goodwill and you'd be done.
The shoes I'd throw away. I mean, you could buy a new pair. I need to downsize the notebooks. I need the camera bag.
Yeah. But it's like all this shit. Go to a regular person's apartment, especially like an older person who's been in the same place for 10, 15 years. There is so much stuff.
Yeah, well, our younger generation.
Open a closet. This is a function of how long you've been in the place.
But do you ever hang out like those old school cats? Like I know or military guys. Dude, they move with a suitcase.
Yeah.
Like, they'll just come live somewhere for a week with one, and it'll be a tiny suitcase, but they keep pulling shit out of it.
Of course.
How do they do that, Danny?
Well, they don't have any stuff. All they have is like one button-up shirt and like a comb.
I want to get everything to fit.
Those guys always had a comb.
Yeah. Well, you need a comb.
You need a comb and like a little pipe to smoke out of. But like most regular people, you go in their closet and it's just like they got to get the Monopoly board, so they got to move all this other shit out of the way. And it's like, this is...
My Uncle G, he's a singer out in L.A., and, he's an entertainer, and he tells me, he goes, Dom, and, dude, you talk about bare minimum, and he's serious now. He's not joking. I've seen his stuff. He goes, all you need to survive is 1 pair of jeans and a few T-shirts. He's much. Dead serious.
That's the thing. It's like when we watch a movie, and there's like it's like a slasher movie. There's a woman, psycho killer is chasing after her. She runs into her home. They always grab a suitcase and start putting clothes in it. And it's like, just fucking leave.
Right.
You'll buy clothes. This is the one thing you'll find you'll find anywhere. It's not like you need to get to the next day.
Man,
you don't need a suitcase with fucking 100 things.
I moved a girl with expensive clothes, or she says it's expensive, dude. She never wore none of this shit. Yeah. About 30, 55-gallon bags, trash bags of clothes.
This is all just, well, a lot of that stuff is probably something you wear to a wedding. But day to day, you're not going to miss it.
Few outfits.
It just takes up space.
A man should have a nice suit and a few outfits and a jean jacket.
The thing with a few outfits, though, is that, like, if you don't have those few outfits, you'll buy new shit.
Right.
Yeah, go to Target. You'll buy some basic stuff.
Dude, cheap.
And it's
$7.99.
When I remember when I moved to New York City, and I had 2 bags, one check bag, one overhead bag. And I remember when I was first, because I never cut my stuff down to that. I remember thinking when I was leaving, I was all worried that they were going to lose my bag.
Right.
And it's like, fucking. Do they have Target in New York City?
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, I bought.
Do they have T-shirts anywhere? It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you could make this work.
I bought a ton of clothes, so I had this heavy, huge bag, right? I couldn't even get in my apartment. I had to drag this bag around the city for a week, all over the place. And, dude, the biggest suitcase money could buy. That's what I had, right? Yeah. 20 pairs of pants.
You can't even check that bag in.
30 shirts. Oh, yeah, that's not going on the train. That's under the plane type shit. So, dude, I spent all this money in New York because clothes are expensive in Ohio. I get to New York, or to come to New York, and I get here, and, dude, I see the clothes are way cheaper here. I moved to the Bronx. I'm like, here's T-shirts for 99 cents.
Well, everybody here has too much stuff, so it's like, especially if you're down to wear used clothes, it's like there is no shortage of clothing in the world.
The one thing,
especially if you're dressed like this.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you where you can't skimp though. The irregular underwear. I have to go through. I'm just going to throw away all my underwear because I think I get rid of one pair of irregulars and I'm getting ready to leave. Boom, another irregular. Remember I bought those 14 pairs of irregular? They're
irregular for a reason.
Dude, it's not worth the $3. Spend the money.
But it's like, that's not, if you're moving, if somebody's chasing after you, you're not like, oh, where am I going to get my boxers?
Right.
It's like, no, you'll find them.
I always think about this when I fly and go on ships. Like when they say, get in the lifeboat and you can't bring any items. Dude, I'm bringing my MacBook. Like, dude, it was too much money.
You say that, but it's like, no, this shit, this is not like it means a lot to you because you spent a lot of money. But it doesn't mean a lot. If you got a new MacBook, this shit would mean nothing to you.
Right. Well, you know what it is.
The sentimental value is like attached towards what you actually have.
Towards the money, and I'll be honest, all the videos I have on it.
You say that now, but this is because you can't, like, you got to put yourself in the mentality of what if this all disappeared. I mean, obviously there would have to be the place would be burned down or something at that point. But it's like you would not care. You would care for about an hour, and then you'd be like, move on.
Right.
Yeah. You would. I mean, like, it sucks. Maybe hopefully you have enough room on your credit card to buy another one. But it's like almost everything. This MacBook Plus, it's like it's not even the new one. No. It's like 3 years old at this point. 2 years old. But it's like there's already like way better computers out there.
There's a really good one out right now.
Yeah.
But that's going to get me a while, though. I want to wear that thing out. I'll get another 3 years out of it.
Yeah. But it's like you won't care. It's not like the way guys talk about like their old car. Hanging onto their Chevy Nova from the 60s or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's a rare item.
Yeah.
You can't get another one, or you got to spend a lot. But it's like,
I know that pain.
This is a Chinese-made computer. Right. It's like there is a lot of those computers in the world, so you'll feel fine once you get a new one.
I would, the car thing, dude, I've lost some beautiful cars in my life. The number one car I regret losing was a factory pony 1965 Mustang.
Oh, wow.
And it was a coupe, 2-door, factory, blue on blue, pony interior, rebuild engine.
What happened to it?
I sold it for $6,500.
Wow.
Yep, dating a girl. Women, they always cause my problems.
Wow. Oh, so at least you got some money for it. I mean,
yeah, but that car today is worth probably about $50,000.
Wow.
It was factory engine, numbers matching, pony interior.
It was like mint?
It was mint.
Wow.
It was solid. I mean, it needed painted, but it was so clean. So, dude, it was like factory, like paint. It sat in a barn forever. Wow. I bought it for $1,500. I rebuilt the engine for about $1,000, and I sold it for $6,500. I was just like, oh, look at all this profit. But just because I caught the deal, and this is 20 years ago, when they were cheap, dude, I'd give anything to have that car right now. Yeah. It's worth $50,000.
Well, that's different. That's a rare object, so it's like it's very hard. Those cars become harder to find over time. But it's like everything else you own in this room could literally be replaced within about an hour.
I went to a dude's house. He wanted me to build him a bookshelf one time, and he had all the different years of encyclopedias all over his whole apartment. Like, dude, he had the 88, the 87, the 9. And it's like, what are you doing? And he tells me, he goes, this is a part of history that one day people aren't going to want to prove this. They're going to disprove this. And he pulls out like a book, and he's showing me, see, dinosaurs used to be called lizards. Like,
this is a guy who doesn't want to go to Goodwill. That's how badly he doesn't want to like just put his shit in a box and walk it somewhere. That's why I got to do this work now before I get to like if you get up to the moving day, that's when people stop throwing their stuff out. Because now it's like, oh, we're already here. Just put it in a box. Move to the next place. But it's like, you got to have this mentality way before you move, months before you move.
I get excited about moving day. I mean, stuff like that desk, I wouldn't, dude, that desk was $60.
Yeah.
I would just buy a new one. Honestly, if I left this room, I'd just leave my roommate. I'd say, hey, do you want this?
That's how I got left with all this fucking stuff.
He would rent this room out. It's ready to go.
Yeah, but it's like, have you ever been... I don't know. You had your place in West Village where it's like when you leave, the place has to be empty. Right?
I threw everything away, dude. I had fucking 16 hours. I got off of a ship. I did my audition for cruise ships, and I did good. So he said, yeah, I'm giving you a good grade. They gave me another ship literally before I got off that ship. They're like, okay, so tomorrow we're going to just fly you right here. I'm like, oh, no, I got an apartment in New York. I got to move out.
Wow.
And, I didn't realize it's going to take so long to get paid.
Right.
So it took me forever to get paid too. But either way, dude, I had no choice. I landed. I got back to my place. My flight was at 6 a.m. I got back home at like 12:30 at night.
Wow.
Because I was like, you don't understand. I have to go home. So they made it happen. Dude, I walked everything outside. Everything I've owned, I threw right to the street, and that was it.
See, even then, though, it's like that was a little-ass place. And you were only there for, 2 years?
Yeah.
So think about how much stuff you accumulated in that amount of time.
I had too much shit.
How much random little pots and pans and shit. It's just like...
Books I never read. Look, I got 4 books over there. I never read one of them.
Multiply that by, like, people who live in, like, an old, like, Upper West Side place. When they do those moving gigs. Man, those people had just, like... It's just old magazines and shit.
When you're talking one of the 3-story, like, townhouses... Yeah. I remember we had to keep bringing trucks. The owner was confused. He's like, wait, there can't be more. Like, dude, we had like 6 full trucks.
Well, this guy owns like 10 mirrors. And it's like, how many mirrors do you need in your place?
And it's all I can't stand when you get these people that just buy the heavy shit. Like, you buy a mirror that weighs 300 pounds and you live on 5
back in the day, that's how you knew something was worth money.
Right.
It was like, look how they don't build desks like this anymore. This is mahogany oak or whatever. Right. And it's like, yeah, they don't build desks. That's 10,000 pounds.
Right.
You need 5 guys to move it out a window. It's like moving a piano or something.
Yeah, I did one moving job. I had to quit on the dude. I'm like, look, dude, you lied about how much you got. I'm beat.
The guy lied. He probably didn't even know. Everybody thinks they own about 5 boxes of stuff.
Yeah, he's like, we got 2 truckloads. After about 11 trucks, I said, dude, it's 2 in the morning. I'm done. You know what's bad? I felt bad for the guy. He's what do you call? He's one of these high-end real estate dudes, right? So these guys got the money and they get the you could tell this dude was rich. So he had an apprentice, some young snot-nosed kid that's like 20.
Yeah.
He had him helping him move. What the fuck are you learning about real estate here?
Yeah, you're part of the game.
Part of the game. I hate that part of the game.
You're getting coffee or you get dry cleaning.
I can't stand that part of the game. I've been that guy before with a comedian, actually. He hired me to be a joke writer, and I show up, and the first job was, we're going to clean out my garage and organize this stuff. I'm like, yeah. No, dude, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I won't say the guy's name, but one comedian famously hired you and made you fix a chair. While you're here.
And I couldn't even fix it.
While I got you, how about you paint my apartment for you?
Yeah, do you mind just going to the... And then I actually walked to the hardware store. I knew they were closed. I Googled it. It's 100 degrees. I'm like, look, they're closed. It says on Google. He's like, it's a quick walk, a few blocks. It's about 11 blocks. They're closed.
People do not value your time. That same guy, we won't say his name, but I did the show for him at a private gig. He pulls up. He's like driving around the block looking for parking. Yeah. He has to double park. He's like, hey, come over here for a second. I have to stand next to his car just to guard it from the parking meter. He goes inside for like 30 minutes.
Dude.
I'm just standing on the street.
I told you the story of that same dude. We're not saying his name, but the dude,
Yeah.
he dude had a comedian who I really look up to carrying shit multiple blocks. I'm just like, you don't do that to somebody.
Some people just aren't afraid to ask.
Listen, if somebody did comedy 30 years, you don't ask them to carry a speaker. You just don't do it.
So
they carried enough fucking speakers.
Yeah, I mean, you see who does well in the world? Those people who aren't afraid to ask that question.
Yeah, do you mind carrying this?
You know what's funny too is like all this, the election and everything.
Yeah.
Trump is talking about his tariffs. He's going to put tariffs on China.
What?
So like
I didn't even hear this.
Tariffs mean like it's like everything that gets imported from China, they're going to make the Chinese companies pay extra money.
Tax on it.
To import. That way,
Right,
American companies are more competitive then. So Americans can choose.
They're trying to up the price of the Chinese product.
Yeah, because all this Chinese shit is too cheap and American companies can't compete with China. But it's just like, look around this room and think about how much of this shit just came from some Chinese factory.
Everything I own.
Yeah.
And
the
it's
camera, the computer, all this IKEA bullshit.
Here's the thing. It's not because I'm like, oh, I'm against American product. It's cheaper. Dude,
Exactly.
we can't afford to buy the...
They don't make this stuff in America.
So basically Trump's saying now Amazon's going to be more expensive. I don't like that.
Well, the thing is, like, theoretically, if you do this, then American companies are incentivized to build a factory in America or keep the money circulating here. But it's like, no, Americans don't make this cheap bullshit anymore.
Right. Yeah, we're living a different life.
You got to get some bullshit tripod to hold your camera. It's like, no, they build that in a factory in Shenzhen, China.
Yeah.
They're not building that in Cleveland.
Right. And why would they?
Yeah, exactly. We got it good. This is the best, we got a good situation going here.
Yeah.
That's before the Chinese change their mind.
Yeah. We're going to get all the smog in America.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we'll all wear masks year round. No more masks except for the
Look at
smog.
the air quality in China. It's like, that's because they're building all of our stuff.
I keep seeing this one trending TikTok video, which I don't know if it's like an AI thing, or if this is true, because it's so hard to tell nowadays with AI. But the one about Trump saying he's going to stop tax on overtime. How could somebody even do that? They won't tax your overtime money?
Yeah, he wants to lower taxes no more taxes on tips if you're like a waiter. And then also, overtime, you put more money in someone's pocket at that point.
How would somebody even do that, though? Is that a possible thing?
Well, I mean, legally, like, if you work over 8 hours, they got to give you overtime.
Right.
If you're in a certain kind of job. But it's like, no, that just means the government would just change the tax code so that you would get more money. It's just like giving somebody a tax break at that point.
I mean, that's a rare job because these restaurant jobs aren't legal. Dude, I've worked overtime. Every job's overtime. What job are you working that you're not working 60 hours a week now?
I mean, you're working like if you're working at the Gap or you work some
right,
bullshit
a
retail.
real professional. Sure.
Well, if you work at like Panda Express down the street, they're cutting you at like 6 hours. It's like, you got to go.
Yeah.
Because if you work more than 6 hours, we got to offer you health care or something. So most of those, like, if you work hourly jobs these days, most people's problem is they don't get enough hours. Or it's like, business is slow, so we're going to send you home.
Oh, they're cutting them to keep the money low.
Yeah, that's what most of those companies do.
Nobody's doing overtime at those jobs.
People who end up working more are people who are working salary jobs.
Like restaurant jobs. That's, dude, I mean certain restaurants, but
like a nice restaurant.
If you're bar back somewhere at a busy bar or something, I'm telling you're working 60 hours a week and they ain't giving you no fucking extra overtime.
Yeah.
I don't even think you're on paper at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you are probably making good money at that point.
Yeah.
But it's like, for most people's jobs, it's like, that's what's so screwed up about like the way money works now. Because it used to be like rich people, if you went back like 500 years, old pre-modern times.
Yeah.
Being rich meant that you didn't work.
Yeah.
That's why you got rich. You were like nobility. So it's like, no, I have money. I'm not going to work. Now the people who have the most money also work the most. All these finance guys all work like 90 hours a week.
Yeah, they never stop.
Yeah, they're all addicted to working.
Anybody that makes money, they get addicted. Like most people, they don't stop. Even if it's not finance. I mean, dude, I talk to guys where they just got to move. They're just trying to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, they're finally like, they're finally doing something that's bringing in money. So it's just like, no, I'm spending all day long doing this.
The car salesman's business, that gets addicting. Like, there's so many people get divorces, you get addicted to that money, which isn't really a lot. The average car salesman, unless you're a real beast, you're only averaging like $100K a year if you're lucky. But
that's the kind of job, though, where the more you work, the more you make.
Right.
So it's like, if I got to be here 12 hours to sell these extra cars, then it's like, I'm not going home after 8 hours.
Right.
It's like not the longer,
Yeah,
just like
guys,
just like real estate or something, where it's like those guys, they got extra sales to make.
Well, and those guys, when they get off of work, you think, oh, maybe they're hanging out. You see them in public. They'll go to church. They're passing out their card. He's at every church. He's at every restaurant there is. He goes. The people that do good get involved in every. You'll see the motherfucker in yoga, Orange Theory. I'm a car salesman.
Yep. Well, that's just networking.
You get one sale.
Yeah, they're in the mix. Real estate is like that times 100.
Right.
Those guys now, you can't turn it off.
Well, New York real estate in Ohio, dude, I feel like that's such a rip sometimes. You need a real estate agent to do the deal. I get it. And I know some of these real estate agents, they work a lot for their deal, but there's also cases when you're like, look, I just want this house. This is the one I want. Mm-hmm. I went to the I want this house. Like, you can look online and see the pictures. And that real estate agent is going to charge you like $7,000 just to do the paperwork for it. Yep. It's like, that could be a 15-minute job for that person. There should be some sort of...
I mean, like, you say that, but then, like, if you change that law, then somebody is out $6,500.
Right.
Like, that guy needed the money.
Right.
Yeah, those are the people who end up fighting that kind of thing. That's why all the real estate stuff in the city, it's like, you got to pay a guy. Yeah, we talked about this last episode. You got to pay a guy $5,000 just for opening the door for you.
Well, I told you, I know, dude. He tries to sell one place a year. Makes his whole year. He's like, I live low. And here goes the thing. He's got rent-controlled apartment.
Yeah, of course.
But he's like, I just can't sell too many. I sell one a year. Dude, it's crazy. I'm like, dude, you sell one place.
What a life, huh?
Your whole year's done with one sale.
Yeah.
I don't know what 3% of $2 million is.
Yeah, it's enough.
They're building those new condos, dude. The cheapest one's $1 million, right next to the Comedy Village.
Wow.
The cheapest studio there is $1 million.
Jesus Christ.
It's right across from a homeless shelter.
Yeah, I mean, everything in New York City is right across from homeless. Yeah, that's a small city. But, like, it's crazy, too, because I'm, like, now I'm in like, apartment mode. So all I'm doing is spending all day looking at apartments and everything. Even those, like, affordable housing, where the NYC housing lottery, I'm too poor to even get a poor apartment.
Yeah, you got to lie.
But it's not even that. But if I was going to do this legally, I would have
$70K, right?
Yeah, I'd have to get such a good job right now and work so many hours just to afford the lowest level of, like, poor person apartment.
Right.
It's crazy. Even in affordable apartments, some of them you have to be making $130.
Yeah, it's funny when you actually meet people that make like $240, and if they would look at this conversation.
Oh my God.
And here's the thing, Dan. You know what bothers me more about it? You're smarter than they are. I know you are.
I'm not as hard working though.
You're not as hard working.
I'm not willing to put in the sacrifice.
But that makes it better. Like, I guarantee you can go get a job like at one of these consulting companies, like any of them really, because they're all pretty much the same thing. They just need people. Hey, can you read? Can you read and relate this? Like, my girlfriend, that's all she did was outline shit.
Well, a lot of those jobs, though, it's just about, like, they want somebody in the office who's, like, one of the guys who knows how to talk.
Yeah,
talk
you
like
gotta
a
know
consultant.
How to talk.
You got to be able to. Well, they have to keep certain people on staff who's just like, a business person's going to come to this office. They got to look like we're running a business. You got to be like a guy who's, the same thing with real estate. It's all about being in the mix, kind of,
I could see you being one of those guys, though.
No, I'd be one of the smart guys in the back, in the basement, who's like crunching numbers. I'm not the guy who's going to be like, work in the room.
Yeah,
Donald Trump.
You got smart shit to say, but you're right.
No, but you don't need somebody with smart shit to say. You need somebody who's like,
They'd have that little Bluetooth you're telling them.
Yeah. No, it's the guy who's like playing golf with you and like, let's go rock climbing.
Yeah.
You play,
My girlfriend was the smart person in the back, but she was also very stern with, this is what we're doing, and we're doing it because of this, like very much in detail. But, bro, when I tell you, she never stopped working.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing, too. That's why I couldn't do it, is that, like, I have too much of my own stuff going on. I can't invest emotionally in this. But they need the kind of people who's like, this is your whole life.
Right.
Is whatever this consultant bullshit you're doing. It's like, this is your identity. This is what you wake up thinking about. It's like, no, any job I get at this point, this is just a job. After 8 hours, 5-6 hours, I'm out. It's like, I'm not thinking about this till tomorrow.
No matter what you do, it's always what you think of. When you get your livelihood from that, like, when I detailed cars, I looked at everything in terms of detailing. Like, my girlfriend wanted to go camping. I'm like, that's 4 cars.
Yeah. That's funny.
You
look at a dirty car in the street, you're like, oh, man.
For real, I would.
If I had my towels on me.
I used to be so good at kneeling down. I used to be able to get down. People would be like the way girls and strippers bounce it, bro, I'd be cleaning wheels bouncing it.
Wow.
And people used to be like, damn, man, your knees don't hurt? People would be blown away, and I'd be like, I do this all day.
You just see somebody wiping with the wrong kind of towel.
Oh,
you're like,
that's the worst.
You need the carbon fiber.
Yeah, you'd say, look what you just did. Look at that lint.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to get out of detailing because I did it every day, 7 days a week for 10 years.
Of course.
Dude, I never really had a day off, I'll be honest with you. In 10 years, I maybe here or there I had a day or two off. And, dude, it is. Like, you just get everything is what you do with that livelihood. Like, everything. I'm like, dude, that's detailing, you know. I could detail that for you.
Well, I mean, you also weren't doing comedy at the time. So
yeah, I tried doing some stand-up in Ohio, but it was just too difficult with the detailing.
But it's like if it was like a thing where it's like, this is just my day job, but at night I'm really trying to do this, then it's like you would mentally be able to switch over. But it's like if you're the kind of person who just works, you work, what, over 40 hours a week detailing?
Yeah, dude, we worked literally 24/7.
You can't do something like that without it becoming who you are. It is literally what you do with all your time at that point.
I would look at my clock-in sheets, no lie, like 103 hours sometimes.
Oh, God.
To imagine that.
Yeah. Just think you can't. Imagine if you had spent that time playing baseball.
I got paid $35 a car.
How good at baseball you would be after if you played the piano. That meant
100 hours
100
for
hours
10 years almost.
of piano. You would be the greatest, even if you weren't good at it at the beginning. The first 5 years, you could have been horrible at piano. You can't not learn at that point.
That's why I feel like if there was a way where Americans didn't have to work, there'd be two problems. One, people that don't work, I see. You get those people like, you know, they're whatever, somebody, they get disability check or some of these people just, you know, they had a grandpa or some friends.
It takes your ambition.
They get rich and then they're just miserable, though. You know what I mean? Like, not even the ambition. It's like, go call your friend up that hasn't had a job in 10 years. And I guarantee you they're bitching about
People
something.
need stuff to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But it would be so cool if somehow we didn't need to work. I could have played the piano for 10 years. I would have donated so much more to society than.
Well, the thing is, it's like just like we were saying at the airport, you could be learning French instead of just watching TikTok videos.
Yeah.
You could, but you're not going to.
Yeah.
That's
I wouldn't detail cars for fun like that.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't do that, but it's also like, you know, we went through a pandemic when you had a lot of time to kill. You probably could have been playing piano. But most people naturally wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of human nature. But it's just like, when you think about what it is that money will do to somebody, just a little bit of money where they pay you to work for 10 hours a day, it's like how much time you'll spend doing something like that.
Right.
How much time I spend making coffee.
Even when it comes to filming a skit, nobody's available when it comes to filming a skit. And then you tell them, no, I'm going to pay you. Oh, well, what time exactly?
There you go. But it's also like, man, if you think it's such a pain in the ass to film anything, but it's like, at least you got it done.
Yeah.
You know, the time it takes, that's how long it takes. But it's like, if we could have spent that 10 hours, you know, detailing a car, you could have spent that 10 hours working at the mall. But it's like, oh, we got something done.
Could you ever imagine going back and just smelling coffee every day? If I walk past the detail shop on 57th, there's one over here. I smell the chemicals. It instantly brings me back that smell.
Just retail, just knowing when you clock in, it's like, man, I'm about to be here for another 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's going to be dark by the time I leave.
I can't stand the smell of cleaning products.
Well, it gets worse, too, because I think the reason why, when you were working the detail shop, when I was working coffee shop, we didn't really think about it at the time. We were like 20 years old.
Right.
So it's like you're not really like thinking about your life overall.
Right.
But now it's like we're way older. So it's like that is so much. Someone told you if I got to spend 10 years doing something, it would be fucking 50 years old doing this. That's why I'm so urgent now about moving and getting my apartment together. It's like, how fucking old do I got to be living with roommates, you know?
Yeah, I went to a coffee shop today, and the guy that was working there, it's usually always these pretty girls, and that they hired a dude. He's like 58 years old. I kind of don't want this dude making my coffee. I'm like, I don't want your hair falling out in my shit. Like, there should be an age limit on the coffee shop. I'm not trying to discriminate, but 58, probably his retirement plan.
Guys got to work. I mean,
like
I worked with guys like that when I was working coffee. Those guys, the thing with the guys like that who are like, when you're that old and you're working retail, those guys had like the coolest life.
Right.
That's what they spent their 20s, 30s, and 40s like being wild.
Yeah.
And like living out of a suitcase, riding a motorcycle somewhere. Then eventually, you can only do that for so long. Now you got to get a job and you got to do a regular thing. But those guys, if you actually like, that guy has some stories.
I should have asked to see his tattoos. I bet he got a few.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know, that's not how I'm praying. I'm not ending up like that.
I wouldn't want to end up like that, but honestly, look at the dude. He's probably worked. See, in my mind, when I first seen that, I was thinking like, oh man, this job could go to like a girl that's working her way through college. Because a coffee shop's like a safe job.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I guess, it goes to this guy. You got to be fair. This dude he's like, hey, he probably likes it.
Well, he's that guy probably lives in an apartment with roommates. He's
I don't know
like,
what's wrong. Yeah, dude, that's what's so sad, too. When you talk to people that are 60. I was just talking to another guy.
It's a big city.
Comedian, too. He's like, oh, yeah, my roommate. Now, I get it because we're both comedians. But I'm also like, oh, dude. Imagine you meet somebody, you love her. You're 60 years old. Oh, this is my roommate. Yeah, Tad. He's 20. He's also doing better at me in comedy.
Wow. Brutal.
Yeah, he's got more followers than I do, but, I'm not giving up. It happens when it happens.
Well, I think guys who are like, the anxiety of that kind of thing is like when you're younger, you're thinking, I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
By the time you're that guy, you're not even thinking about it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, most of that kind of stuff is like, once you're actually there, you have that kind of lived experience. You have enough perspective. Where it's like guys who are in their 60s, at that point, you've had like 10 friends die.
Right.
Randomly.
And they got that. All those guys in their 60s, I don't know what happened back then, like in the 70s when they were growing up, but they all have that huge hernia in their stomach. You ever see it? It's like a little baby fist poking out.
Well, they were all like, it was like they're smoking unfiltered cigarettes back
picking
in the day.
up sewer lids.
Not even that, but it's just like Mountain Dew used to have chemicals in it or something. Or like,
Wow.
They didn't drink water back in the day. That's what happens to your stomach.
Yeah, dude told me his job at the mill, and this is in like 1975 in Youngstown, Ohio, and part of his job description was, when you see stray dogs, you got to break their jaws because if they bite you, you'll get rabies.
Wow.
That was his job description,
Good
dude.
Lord.
And they had leather gloves. And he goes, man, I love dogs, but, we had to do it. And he told me he get like $108 a week.
Wow.
Working at the mill.
God, man, that's what America used to be like.
And then he had two jobs. He worked at the mill. And then
that was a union job.
He was, what do you call it? He was security because he was a retired police officer too.
Wow.
He was security. 8 kids though, but then he was security at the mall somewhere at a shopping center nights. He's like, yeah, I'd sleep there.
It's like what Trump's saying about Ohio. You seen these? They saw the debate. Trump's talking about their
people eating pets.
They're eating the dogs in Ohio.
I can't believe
Springfield, Ohio.
He knows how to go viral.
They're eating the cats and the dogs.
And it's
that's why you're saying it though.
I thought that was AI. Actually,
I was watching it. I couldn't believe he said it, but that's like that used to be somebody's job, is to kill that dog. Now they got Haitian migrants out there eating the dogs in Springfield, Ohio.
Yeah, I know they do got some. It's crazy. They do got some. I guess they're called migrants. There's a lot of new people in Ohio. I hear some of my friends talking about it.
Well, that used to be like a factory town. And everybody left. The factory left. Now they got to someone's got to work there. So it's like these aren't illegal immigrants. These are just Haitian guys who have a job. So it's like, why would I live in Harlem?
And so many people are doing good on Uber Eats and stuff. I was actually talking to a dude right here by bike. He's like, yeah, I try to make $200 a day before I quit.
Yeah, these guys are trying to send money to their family and who wherever they live.
Right.
So it's like they're trying to go where the money is. But it's like, what's so funny to me about this whole debate is that like people are mad. It's like, oh, these people are coming. These Haitian guys are taking all the jobs. So it's like you're saying that these are like hardworking people, and you're also calling them murderers.
Right.
Yeah. They're eating the dogs, and they're also taking the jobs.
Right. What type of sense does that
pick
make?
a side.
And, dude, I'll be honest with you.
Pick one thing to get mad at.
Everybody in Ohio would change their mind if they let some of those Haitian people cook for them. Dude, you get some of that jerk chicken, some plantains.
Yeah, these are famously people who work 3 jobs at
little
once.
Catfish rice.
Yeah.
You'd love them.
Yeah, these are good folks. Plus, I won't even keep going to the immigration thing, but they're not eating the cats and the dogs.
Right.
What are we even talking about?
Yeah, dude. If anything, people in Ohio are just taking their guns and shooting random people's dogs.
We got a lot of dogs in this country.
People in Ohio just love to shoot shit.
Yeah.
They'll just shoot at something. My buddy was looking at a tree. He goes, "Man, that tree is beautiful," and just pulls out a gun and shoots it. Just like what type of
Yeah. Well,
like right next to me, he just pulled out a firearm like that.
Hey, you give the guy, you got a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
It's those people with huge yards that never had the confined. I grew up in a city, even though I grew up in Ohio, I still lived in the city. But those country boys, they just, they don't have that. They
don't have a sense of space.
Yeah.
It's like, no, my property is whatever I can look at.
Dude, it's like, you can't just take out your gun and shoot something. You just don't do that in a city.
Clearly, I guess you can,
Yeah.
Shows what we know.
They just burn their trash, dude, everything. And those people with land, how do they always have money? Does the land bring you money? You ever meet those people on all those acres? They just got like an old they'll have a Ferrari in a barn somewhere. You'll be like, dude, what the fuck?
They're getting paid by like the paint factory next door, just poison the well or
right.
something. So they're getting like settlement money or something.
Those people in those farm towns in Ohio, their legs are real thick. I remember even my dad, me and him, he always wanted me to have thick legs. He used to say, "Look at my legs, son," and there was no fat, just cut up muscle, but there was no meat on them. And I remember
he was doing the squat for all those years.
Yeah, he had me doing he had me eating a lot. He'd say, "You gotta get big legs," but I'd be eating like chips and Doritos and shit. Those farm boys, they just got them legs, man. They just stand too. You want to sit down? No, I'm good. It's like, motherfucker, take a seat. Your legs are too big.